So I want to make a video here talking about receiving or taking in nourishment. And the invitation here is to listen the way your body wants to listen. It can be helpful to um, find the place in your body where that feels most naturally good to listen with. Often we're conditioned to listen in particular ways that might shape our nervous system to have our attention mm, somewhere that isn't necessarily the place that is best for us as we're taking things in. So maybe look for the place in your body that feels most naturally good to rest your awareness. If you're used to listening with your head, what happens if you rest your attention at your heart or your belly or your hips, somewhere else? Just practice. And that's part of what I want to speak to is how to orient to our nervous systems in such a way that we can enjoy, receive, cultivate nourishment such that it actually, well, nourishes us. And never want to denigrate the headspace as a place that might be a good place to listen from. Really, I think, it's different for different people. It's different for different neurotypes. It's different at different times and different types of needs we're playing with. Um, and I find, yeah, having my whole body available for listening and receiving is really a big part of it. And it's taken a lot of work to get there. One of the hardest things for me actually was learning how to receive care and love and affection. I didn't know that I didn't know how. And I can remember being in like a group practice experience and somebody asking if they could just rub my shoulders. And I was like, and it was just like, it felt like a clean, benevolent offer, something I just genuinely felt drawn to do without needing anything from me for it aside from just the act of giving, I guess. And I was like, sure. And before you know it, I started to feel myself tear up a little bit. And somebody was like, oh, let me place a hand on your heart if you're into that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. And before you know it, I have like three or four people rubbing my shoulders, hand on my heart, a couple other things that just feel naturally good. Um, and things that, aren't particularly intense or super stimulating um, by traditional standards. But before you know it, I'm crying a lot. And at first, it feels really good. And then a really, really, really intense sense of rage came up. I told everybody to get away. I took a pillow and screamed into the pillow because I was so unused to receiving and taking in and enjoying nourishment that it touched really deep wounds. And I had received massages before. I'd been in multiple long-term romantic relationships before. that had friends and things, friend groups and best friends and all the things. And affection and mutual nourishment just weren't that deeply practiced. And I think that's pretty normal collectively. It's what we see in a lot of attachment patterns. Even when you have a lot of quote unquote deep attachments, a lot of them are built on us avoiding ourselves, avoiding those tender parts. And both for our own sakes and for creating chosen family, village, community, and greater cultures that actually are built on mutuality, mutual care, mutual nourishment, we, in my opinion, need to figure out how to do these sorts of sober, useful, nourishing ways of being together and ways of being with ourselves. It's a question of, and a contemplation of, can you recognize the signals of when you're receiving nourishment? Can you relax into that? Relax into receiving, relax into being nourished, and actually take it in. Can you tell when you're full? Are you used to tracking and naming these processes as they're happening? Is that built into your close relationships that are supposed to be the ones that meet these needs? And the funny thing is, at least in my experience, the more you tend to these things and work through the barriers, those needs become quieter. You just naturally gravitate towards people and relationships where mutual care and nourishment shows up. Oh, my camera's flickering again. I don't know if it's something with the cable or something, but maybe if I adjust a little less strain on the cords. No, still doing it. Well, we're gonna roll with it. It's not that important that you watch me, it's that you listen. That's the content, right? But yeah, when I'm really attuned to myself and other people are attuned to their selves, it becomes natural just to find that just right level of connectedness between us. And this is a big part of the work I do is coaching people into their um, their most natural language for tracking relational processes and attunement and co-regulation. Co-regulation really speaking to the fact that our nervous systems are always impacting each other, but our language always keeps us, typically always keeps us um, disconnected from that process. Even though it's always, always happening. So, with just a little bit of support and reorientation, you can harness language to support co-regulation and connection and attunement to the just right level of intimacy between you and the person you're interacting with in a given time. And it's pretty miraculous what happens when you do so. I've practiced various different forms. You could call it social meditation, authentic relating, other things. What it comes down to, in my experience at least, is tracking the real-time process of connecting with self and others, feelings, sensations, and the process of what's happening between us and within us. And that makes relationship that much more um, makes the dance that much more explicit and makes the dance that much more nimble, agile, gives it greater dexterity. And so what's miraculous is sometimes the just right level of touch between me and somebody I'm close to is just like, oh, can I just lean my foot up against yours? And that can be the thing that all of a sudden my whole nervous system relaxes, and theirs does too. And there's a certain point where it's like, oh, I'm full. That's enough. Or leaning into deeper connectedness. And so we're really not great at those subtler layers of connection. We collapse so many of our intimacy needs into sex and peak experiences and big shared rituals and things like that. And none of those things are bad. But there's just the everyday, mundane connectedness, those small bites that help create, a healthy diet. And so it's worth checking with yourself. Do I know how to track these things? Do I know how to actually enjoy nourishment such that it, well, nourishes me? I can actually feel fed and nourished. Are the people I'm close with and building relationships with, do we track these things aloud together? So mutual nourishment can be uh, that much more easily um, oriented to. There was something I was going to say, and I think I lost it. Yeah. Because this dance of connectedness, this dance of co-regulation is always happening. What empowers me and the people around me to cultivate resource and nourishment. Oh, that was what I was going to say. Is building off of what I've talked about in a previous video about joy being a green vegetable. We again with nourishment, we often very quickly we might recognize it for a glimpse for a moment and then objectify it. Like it's like, oh, there's a beautiful sunset. Got to take a picture. Got to tell everybody about it. Got to try to hold on to this, make it into a thing. And we also have a narrow subset of things that can fit into what a nourishing moment is. When it can show up in surprising ways. And the difference here is like starting to recognize the somatic signatures, the embodied signatures that tell us nourishment is here or nourishing states are here. Nourishing connection is here. And then upon recognizing those, actually allow ourselves to enjoy and receive and attune to the threads of receiving and also to mutuality because it's a gift for your love to be received too. People like to be loving to you. And when they say something or offer something, you feel touched literally or metaphorically in a particular way. When you allow yourself to receive it and show how much it genuinely touches you, it touches them back. Pretty sure I've talked about this before. My memory's not great, but um, yeah. You can take a moment here to notice what already feels good about your experience. It's okay if there are things that aren't feeling good. It's okay if you can't find anything that feels good. There are times where life is like that. But if you just gently orient to that which feels good or even neutral, and just welcome it. And if you notice difficult things, you practice holding those as compassionately as you can, as nourishingly as you can. The more you practice this, you can meet even the most difficult things from a place of resource. It's like emotionally intense things. They still impact me, but I can meet them with a level of poise because I've had so much practice with them. And sometimes we have internalized beliefs about that, about how ourselves or others should be emoting around difficult things. And if they aren't emoting in a particular way, it's wrong. But at least in my case, it's often like, I've been practiced as a therapist and coach for so long. It's like being an emotional first responder. Um, when there's an emotional emergency, I'm the one who can show up without being faced by it. Much like a nurse with blood, I can be I'm a nurse with metaphorical blood, for the metaphorical blood of difficult emotions and things. Although I'm not a therapist anymore, so I'm not in the medical model. But yeah, really continually orienting to that which feels nourishing, recognizing it, allowing yourself to enjoy it, um, is actually pretty essential skill for cultivating healthy chosen family, village, community. And within chosen family, I include blood family. By chosen family, in that case, I mean how you choose to dance with those connections, because, you know, family comes with complications, as all relationships do, really. Complication doesn't necessarily mean bad things. So, hmm, I'm not sure I have much more to say. I do have a meditation that follows up on this coming out a couple days after this, um, that I recorded previously. You'll notice because I'm wearing the same tank top. So this will come out on Monday. That'll come out on Wednesday. Um, and I hope this finds you well. I hope this information serves you in some way. Even if it doesn't resonate, may it help you turn towards loving yourself, loving others, loving this world in ways that are beneficial to all. Take good care.